there! Today I'm starting my Dotloop training series, and today I'm talking about how to use Dotloop for Realtors. And I am sharing 3 tips to help you use Dotloop more efficiently. Let's get started. If this is your first time visiting my channel, thanks so much for stopping by. My name is Carrie Jonicus, and I am the proud owner and a transaction manager at Amplify Transaction Services. If you would like to learn more information about how we can help you, you can visit our website at www.amplifytransactions.com. Okay, I'm going to share with you 3 tips on using Dotloop for Realtors to make you more efficient in your real estate transactions. The first tip that I want to share with you is to set up templates and saving those in your personal folder so you can easily find them. So I'm going to go into one of the loops. So when I click on Add Document and I click on Templates, there's a huge list here of documents that you can, folders that maybe were set up by the brokerage. And I find that sometimes those are not organized in the way that makes it most efficient for me to work. And if I try to go to search for that specific document, it's very difficult to find that document. And so I strongly recommend having a personal folder and saving all of your most common documents in that personal folder. And the way to do that from your brokerage documents that are already created as a template, it's very easy because you can just copy those over. So what we're going to do is go up to the top and go up to templates. And then let's just use this as an example. So say we want to save the addendum to our personal folder so we can easily access that. You'll click the 3 little dots on the right-hand side and you'll click Make a Copy. And then it's going to ask you, do you want to copy it as a Dotloop document? Do you want to send it to a loop or to the templates? Or you can just copy it as a PDF and make it not editable. So we're going to do copy as a Dotloop document and to templates. And now it's going to ask you which folder you want to put it in. And then I'll just click Personal and click Copy. Click OK. And then I'm going to go back up and I'm going to go into my loops again. And then add a document, go to templates. And then if you notice under the personal folder, you'll see that addendum. So those most common documents, it's going to be a lot more helpful for you to have them in that folder. You, of course, don't have to label it as personal. You could create that folder as, common docs or common documents or something of that nature that might help you to signify that these are the most common documents. And maybe you want to say, common listing docs, common buyer docs, and separate them that way. So I would recommend doing that and creating your own folders than utilizing the folders that your brokerage already has, because they might not be set up in the way that makes it easy for you to work. And if you're spending a lot of time trying to find documents inside of Dotloop, that is not efficient use of your time. So I would strongly advise that you are finding the way that makes you most efficient, and what works for one person to make them efficient might not be as efficient for the next. So make sure that you're doing it in a way that is efficient for you to be able to do your job in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle. My second recommendation is, once you're in your loop, setting up folders for each stage in your transaction. So for instance, if you notice here, we have a folder for contract documents, we have a folder for inspections, and then we have closing documents. This separates everything so I'm not having to scroll through a very long list of documents, and makes it much easier when I am having to either send something to someone. Maybe someone's like, oh, can you send that to me again? I don't want to have to look through one long line list of documents. The other recommendation that I have inside of here, and this is kind of goes along with, having those folders, is when you are saving the documents, it's more helpful inside of Dotloop if you are labeling those documents in a very specific way that only includes what the actual file is. Now, if you were using, say, Google Drive, I would recommend that you're saving it in a very specific way, which would be the client's last name, the address, and then what the document is. But when you're in Dotloop, I feel like it's much more difficult to be able to see what each of those items are. So it makes it easier if it's just a one line of what the document is, as opposed to having the client's last name, the address, and then whatever that is. So I would recommend just having one strand of text of whatever the document is. So ratified contract, rate on report, inspection summary. We don't need the address or anything else because it's saved in that actual loop. There's no way that it's going to be put into some other place and you're not going to label it as something else, because that's the only folder that, when you're in that loop, you're in that loop. If you are managing a small volume of files and you don't want to go to a transaction management software yet because you don't do enough files and having a spreadsheet just doesn't really work for you, then you can use Dotloop to create transaction checklists. And so you can manage your checklist inside of Dotloop. You can do it inside the actual loop for that transaction. You could have a template here with all of the tasks that are needed to be completed for that transaction. Or you can also go back to your main loop, and then up at the top, it says, there's a button that says tasks next to where it says loops, and you would click on that. And then this would show you all of the tasks that are due for that day. You could see what has been completed, what's overdue. So you would be able to manage your transactions in that way. I don't recommend using Dotloop for your transaction management. If you do more than 12 transactions a year, you really should be working out of a transaction management software, whether that be a spreadsheet or something larger. I would definitely recommend that. I also have another video where I went into great detail about my software recommendations, and I will list that up above. And then finally, my third recommendation for using Dotloop, if you have a transaction coordinator or an office manager or operations manager and you want them to be notified of any signature requests that come through, then I would strongly recommend, if they do not have an admin account, that you are setting up a filter inside of your email account with that filter in there. So I want to show you what that looks like. You're going to go in, if you're using Gmail, you're going to click the gear icon in the upper right-hand corner, and then you're going to click on settings. And that is going to look like this. And you're going to go over to the filters and blocked addresses. And then you're going to want to scroll down to the bottom and click create new filter. And then you're going to put in where it says from. You're going to paste hit-reply@dotloop.com. And then you'll click create filter. And then this is where you're going to choose what to do with it. Now, this is where I would recommend that you're going to forward it to that transaction coordinator. So anytime anything that is being sent from Dotloop, which would be any signature requests, that would then come into your inbox and automatically forward a copy to your transaction coordinator or whoever you have selected. This helps the transaction coordinator to then know that a signature request has been completed, instead of having to jump in and out of there to see if it's been completed or not. If you do not have forwarding set up in your email, you're going to want to choose that first. So you'll click add a forwarding address, you'll follow the steps, and then come back to here and click forward it. So then anytime you would get anything that was from Dotloop, it would automatically get forwarded to that person. It would also still be sent to you, so you don't have to worry about that. You would still get it, but they would get a copy of that as well, which will really help you when you are trying to alert them of any signature requests that are coming. And that way, again, it saves time and for you and for them, so you don't have to forward the emails to them, and then they also can get alerted at the same time. It makes things much more efficient.
Well, there you have it. I hope these tips have been helpful for you. If you would like help with your contract to close services, we would love to assist you. Please visit our website at www.amplifiedtransactions.com. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one.